guys, it's Ashley and welcome to another edition of Sparky Loves Books BookTube. Today I'm going to be doing another Top 5 Wednesday video. Top 5 Wednesday is a Goodreads group and I will leave a link to the group itself in the description box below. It is led by Sam from Thoughts on Tomes and there is a new topic every week, and this week's topic is Top 5 Favorite Publishers. So today I'm going to be talking about 5 of my favorite publishers and why I like them so much. So the first publisher is Lonely Planet, and I love Lonely Planet because it helps to both fuel and help stifle my wanderlust. On the one hand, it helps to fuel it because it makes it worse. I tend to look at a lot of Lonely Planet books and wish that I was going to all these places and then become really sad that I'm not. On the other hand, whenever I am feeling really a lot like going somewhere, sometimes it really just helps to look at a Lonely Planet book and see all these beautiful places that exist and look at the pictures and all the different activities that people do there, and that really kind of helps me at least feel like a second or third hand experience of going to those places. And I like Lonely Planet in particular because they have very specific sorts of trips that they sort of set out for you and publish about. So like for example, this one is the 33 Amazing Road Trips for the Pacific Northwest. So this is incredibly specific. It only talks about like Upper Oregon and Washington here in the US, and that is a place that my husband and I are particularly interested in, and they're just my favorite sort of travel guides that are out there. One of my next favorites, which I never tend to get a hand on any of the books published by this publishing company, is Folio Society, and they do a lot of leather-bound classics with the boxes with them. So one of the versions I have with me is The World of Odysseus. And this is a Folio Society book, and it comes in this protective box, and the cover of it is really beautiful, and it has these really cool end pages. It has really good illustrations in it, and they always come out with these really beautiful books, but they're usually pretty pricey, so I can never afford them. I do also have a copy of The Argonauts in a Folio Society version, and I also really adore that one. The illustrations for that one are actually done by Picasso, so it's really amazing, and anytime I can get my hands on a version of these where it's like semi-reasonably affordable and something I'm truly interested in, I try and pick up a copy if I have the funds for it. But Folio Society, they're absolutely beautiful. They're almost like works of art, and it just is really nice to have Folio Society versions of classics like that displayed in your library. I just think they look absolutely beautiful, and I have so much envy for people who have like entire shelves full of Folio Society versions of books. I just think they're absolutely gorgeous. One of my next favorite publishing companies is a pretty recent one because I've just recently gotten into graphic novels. This publishing company I have found does a lot of the comic books graphic novels that I've been getting into. So just by happenstance, Image Comics is one of my favorite publishing companies. They do the Saga series, they do The Wicked and the Divine, The Rat Queens. They do a bunch of like really mainstream, or just at least getting more popular now, graphic novels. And so just kind of because of how often I've been reading graphic novels and how often they happen to be Image Comics, I feel like I had to include this publishing company in there just because I've been devouring so many of their things that they've been coming out with lately. Second on my list of publishers is Penguin Publishing Company. Specifically, I really like the Penguin Classics, and I really like their orange classics with the orange stripes on them, but I've really been getting into the Penguin Classics Deluxe Edition, so I have about 6 of them. I didn't want to hike them all over here because they're all really big, so I have 2 here with me instead of all 6. And for the examples that I want to show you, I have the Iliad, which is translated by Robert Fagles. I have a couple of versions of the Iliad actually because I studied it so extensively in school. This is my favorite version of it. This is my favorite translation, favorite cover. It's got deckled edges and French flaps, and this is just my absolute favorite version of it. The translation is an actual verse translation instead of a prose translation, which is always great, and I just love the binding and bind up and version that Penguin Deluxe has done. And I also have here the short novels of John Steinbeck. This is just 6 of his short novels in one, and again, I really love the cover of this, the flaps and the deckled edges. I just think that Penguin has done a really great job lately of doing these deluxe editions of the classics. If you guys know of any that have just come out, because I haven't really been keeping up lately, please let me know in the comments below, because I just find these editions absolutely gorgeous. And lastly, we have my favorite publishing company, which is Norton, and specifically I love the Norton Critical editions of books. Also, Norton anthologies. I have read so many Norton anthologies because of my schooling, and I kept them all every time. One, because they cost so much money to buy, and then trying to sell them back, I didn't get anything for them. So it wasn't really a profit for me to sell them back. Two, I just really honestly love them. I think that they're really great. They have some great collections in them. They have great forwards and essays on the pieces that are in them. And I find myself turning back to them, like the Norton Poetry Anthology, the Norton Anthology of Women's Literature, the Norton Anthology of Literary Criticism. I love them all so much, and I have like a bit of nostalgia about them because they remind me of my like academic years. So I'm a little bit biased about how much I love them, but I kept them all. I have a bookshelf closet that I'm looking at right now, and like the full bottom row is all full of Norton anthologies. So Norton's anthologies in and of itself are something I'm obsessed with, but like I said, I also really like Norton Critical editions. I have some here. These were also very heavy to bring over here, so I didn't want to bring all of them because I have so many. Almost all of my Brontes are in Norton Critical editions. Quite a few others. My Wilkie Collins. Yeah, there's a lot of Norton Criticals, so I didn't want to bring them all over. But I do have Uncle Tom's Cabin by Harriet Beecher Stowe. John Donne's poetry. John Donne is actually my favorite poet. T.S. Eliot is a close second, but I really love John Donne's work, and the fact that there's a Norton Critical edition version of it is just like made for me. I have Paradise Lost by John Milton. This is my favorite version of Paradise Lost. There are a lot of translations and a lot of versions of this, but I really like this version of it. I like the forward to it. I like all the additional essays at the end. They really are very supplementary, and I just had so much to say when I was reading this version of Paradise Lost and analyzing it. And then I also have 3 Chaucer books in Norton Critical editions, because Chaucer is my favorite author to study academically, and he is what I was focused on. He was my focal point for my schooling. So I have the Canterbury Tales, Troilus and Cressade, and Dream, Visions, and Other Poems, which is probably my favorite of all these. I mean, I do love his 2 long works as well, but just these short poems are so astounding, and they are not known half as well as the Canterbury Tales, but they are just as good in my opinion. And again, I really love the supplementary things that are in this, and especially like the context essays in this and in Chaucer's other works. So I am so in love with Norton Critical editions. I just want to study them and devour them every day forever and get paid to do it. So if you would like to pay somebody to read these for you and analyze them, I'm your girl. And that's it. Those are my top 5 favorite publishers. Let me know in the comments down below what some of your favorite publishers are, or if you like any of the 5 that I mentioned. And I will see you guys next time with a new video. Bye!